Okay, welcome to the Uneducated Opinion podcast. I'm Sean Carney. This is episode 2. We're with Gary Brownbeer Rodrigues.
Hello, everyone.
I was thinking on the way here, actually, whether you wanted me to use that
Oh, go for it, mate. Everyone.
alias.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I've had it for years, so.
So we made it to episode 2. It's been longer than 2 years, I think, man. I think it's been
Well,
3
yeah,
years.
I reckon it's been closer to 3,
It's
yeah.
been 3 years, yeah. We got there. We've got a set up in the office now.
Well, yeah, 3 because I'm coming up on my 4th anniversary. And I think I mentioned it in the podcast. I'd been married for a year, the first one. So it's been 3 years.
Yeah, must have been about 3.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. It was like watching
Yeah.
a different person.
Yeah.
When I watched myself, anyway. Had
Yeah.
no beard.
Me too. Yeah, yeah. Baby face Sean.
Yeah, it's a little bit embarrassing. It was I was surprised. So yeah, we're going to start doing weekly podcasts
Oh, for
in
sure.
the office. We have a nice setup. We can keep all the gear here.
I look forward to hearing them, Sean.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, gee, I don't think I want to listen to myself.
Yeah.
I look forward to being in them.
Yeah, I look forward to hearing the ones that I'm not a part of.
Yeah. So we this is the second take. We just fucked up the first one. Well, I fucked up the first one.
Nah,
by
it's all
not
good, mate.
Pressing record. So we were talking about virtual reality for about 5 minutes until
Yeah.
we realised the audio wasn't on.
Yeah, exactly. And
So-
we were hilarious. It was you
Yeah,
guys
you
missed
guys
out.
missed-
You guys
you
missed
missed-
it. It's missed. You had to be there.
You guys missed so
you know,
much.
you're just gonna have the second-hand version, but that's all right. We'll try and make it
Yeah,
just
fucking
good.
VR is insane. Like I was saying, it was 4 years ago. I tried my buddy's Oculus before like any of the cool games
Yeah.
and shit were out, and now all the cool games are out. Like
So
there's-
there are legitimate games out at the moment.
yeah, like now's the time where they've got like a lot of really good games.
I don't know how much it costs, man.
The
Like
Playsta-
I'm talking about the PlayStation version.
I think it's like $400,
Is that it?
and then it just goes into your PlayStation,
That's pretty good.
or maybe 500 around that. And but there's all these haunted house games, man.
No.
Like it's fucking terrifying. Like
Yeah.
yeah, man. I think it's eventually going to get so good that it'll give people post-traumatic stress disorder.
I reckon.
Yeah.
Well, this is a little bit off the subject, but kind of on the subject. Do you know that there's like a haunted house place in the US because the Yanks love their haunted houses. You know, their scare houses.
Yeah, like you
Like
walk
at
through.
fairs and stuff
Yeah,
like
there's
that,
one on
people
the
jump-
Gold Coast at Dream World or something.
Yeah,
like that?
yeah. So, but apparently there's one in the US. I can't remember where, but they reckon that it is so scary that they have therapists on hand
Oh,
afterwards
fuck that.
to help you out with the possibility of late onset post-traumatic stress.
Yeah.
And I'm like, far out, man.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah,
Don't
nah,
wanna go
fuck
to
that.
But you imagine, so I think VR, eventually it will get to the point where it's basically the same as the reality
Yeah.
we experience and feel now. So you
Yeah.
imagine all of the war games.
Oh, mate.
So like it's cool shooting
Call
on
of Duty
on a
and stuff like
screen,
that. Yeah, yeah.
shooting your mates. But imagine when you put on a VR headset and it actually
Yeah.
feels like you're killing somebody. That shit's gonna fuck people up. Like it's
For
gonna,
sure.
yeah, the government.
But also, you could also see the benefits in that sort of thing with people with post-traumatic stress.
Fuck yeah, yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you could slowly, like, help
Or they
them come to terms with certain things, and
yeah, it's
the
like,
applications would be amazing.
it's with anything. Like there's both sides of the sword.
Oh,
for
yeah, yeah,
anything. But like, say you had a bad experience as a child, maybe you could I'm not a psychologist, but you could relive that through VR and
in
deal
small
with it
doses
in a way or something. You know,
Yeah.
understand it more. Yeah, it's nuts, man. You could just go into so many different rabbit holes, and
I want to check it out though, eh?
I want to buy it, but it's pretty expensive. I don't have a PlayStation, so I have to get like the Oculus. I have to get a new graphics card. I really, really want one though. But
The initial outlay would kind of...
yeah, and because it's new, well, it's not new anymore, but it's like PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
You know, like there's going to be a 2, a 3, a 4.
That's what I was just about to ask.
And
So
then-
if you buy this PlayStation 4 version, they're not going to be assholes and go, well, the PlayStation 5, it's not compatible.
Oh, I've got no idea, but I imagine every year there'll be a new one, you know,
Yeah.
and then like in 3 years' time there'll be like one that's even better. You know, so.
Though if they were smart though, they would allow you to use the VR across the platforms. It just needs like an update, like a software update.
I'm sure they would. Man.
You know what I mean? Because I know a lot of people are shitty every time they move up on a console. It's like, oh, well, fuck. Now I've got the PlayStation 5. I have to buy all these games that I like playing on my PlayStation 4.
Don't they normally work from one to the next?
No.
Oh, okay.
So PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4 aren't You can't share.
I'm thinking of 1 to 2. You could use.
I think you could
Yeah.
1 to 2.
And that's when I stopped
Yeah.
using it. Yeah.
And that's when they went from 2 to 3, people cracked the fucking shits. And you could kind of understand because 3 was the first iteration that had Blu-ray. So the technology had jumped up such a high margin that you could kind of understand why you couldn't play PlayStation 2 games on PlayStation 3. But come on, mate. Like, I understand PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4, there is a massive increase. But, like, it's not like they've both got Blu-ray capability. I'm sure there'd be a way for you to be able to play that game.
I'm sure, like, nowadays they can do some
They just want to be assholes, mate.
crazy
Trying to get
shit
money.
with it. Yeah, probably as well. Everyone will just move to Oculus, so...
Yeah, it just makes you gets frustrated. You have to buy fucking Gran Turismo on every single version of PlayStation that you get. You're like, God, I've got 5 versions of Gran Turismo by the end of PlayStation 5.
Yeah, that's true.
And I can only play one of them.
Yeah.
And who really wants to hold on to PlayStation 4, 3, 2, and 1? Just because you feel nostalgic and you want to go, hey, I'm having a bit of a Crash Bandicoot moment. But then you've got emulators and stuff like that. Like a lot of people are,
I think the technology will get so... Like, everything's online now till you download everything. Like, all the games are downloaded now anyway.
Yeah, true.
So,
That's what I mean. The emulators, like a lot of people are going through the whole retro thing where a lot of those games are in vogue again. So,
oh, yeah, like, like girls love the Crash Bandicoot. Crash Bandicoot.
And
game.
the Nintendo had that
like
Nintendo
James
Mini
Bond,
thing.
007, you remember all those games?
Dude, GoldenEye was the slappers only. Do you remember that?
No, I remember 00. Is that
No, but so in the James Bond game, you could play with your friends. So it was like a kill deathmatch.
Yeah, it was like the first multiplayer
Yeah,
game kind
yeah.
of thing. Yeah.
So you used to obviously be able to say, okay, well, assault rifles only or pistols only, knives only.
Yeah,
Do you remember slappers only where you used to run around and like karate chop each other?
Very vaguely. I used to play at my cousin's house when I was about... Because my parents didn't let us have the video game machines or like consoles. Fuck, they were cool back then. But VR is gonna fucking change the world, man. Like once it gets to the point where we can't tell the difference between reality and virtual reality. I mean, that'll be a long time, like 20, but it's gonna be in our lifetime. Man.
No, I know. I see that being an issue though. I see that becoming a massive issue.
A million different issues with it, man.
Like the amount of people that suffer from some sort of social anxiety now because all they want to do is sit in a room and play video games. Like, if you're giving them something... Well, then again, it could be said that it would help them more.
But if it's exactly the same as the reality we're experiencing now, there's no difference.
It might help them. That's why I just thought,
no difference.
Maybe it would stop the social anxiety.
It would actually be better because, the argument now for video games being bad is you're stuck inside, you're staring at a screen, you're not experiencing, like, our environment and the trees and the nature and the
or just the social interactions.
Right? Yeah, the social interactions and you're awkward guys that can't talk to people and shit. But if the VR is as good as reality, you'll be able to experience more of what we already have. So I'll be able to go to the Alps. Like, I'll be able to like jump out of a helicopter and like parachute down to the top of Mount Everest and shit, and it'll be fucking nuts. And then we'll be able to create like environments that don't even fucking exist,
like
that are even more stunning and crazy and shit. Like, it's
what I'm talking about is that's amazing, that part. What I'm saying is, like, the guys that have the social anxiety, like, do you think it would help them socially if it was more realistic? Then they will be able to say, hey, well, in fucking Narnia, I'm there and I'm a level 3 mage and I talk to women all the time in the game. And if the virtual reality is so good that you don't get the anxiety talking to other players, I reckon that would help you in your real life.
If we're going off, it's pretty much the same as the reality we're experiencing now. It'll be the same. So like, depending on the environment that's created, the game that they're playing. Yeah. So like, if they're playing a game that's exactly the same as the reality that we live in now, and everybody looks the same, they're gonna have the same amount of anxiety because they'll just forget that they're in the fucking thing. It starts getting
you can start going down the rabbit hole there.
Yeah, you really can. That's why I like it.
But you'll always find,
I think,
people that were a pro and a con against everything.
Yeah. Well, I think there's going to be a lot of, it's the transitioning into that where there's going to be a lot of issues, and like the post-traumatic stress and like people becoming comfortable with doing things. You know, you put them into a virtual reality world where they can do anything they want. They can kill people, they can rape people, which is what everyone does in fucking Grand Theft Auto already. And then they take the headset off and they forget
that they're not in that reality anymore.
Well, because it feels real, and then they get used to it, and then be all these different.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It becomes a case of how do you stop those people from doing that sort of shit. But I guess if you've got that in you anyway, you're gonna be that person. You know what I mean? I hate to sound like a negative Nelly, but you know how they have that thing, that saying that says, like, you know, not a saying, but they say that like certain percentage of the population, no matter what happens, they're going to be sociopaths. They're going to be psychopaths, just because of the way their brain chemistry is.
Well, you could argue that all of the murderers, rapists, you know, sociopaths could put on VR headsets, get their kicks that way, and not harm anybody,
and be safer.
Yeah, but then there's a moral argument that that's not okay, just for the fact that they're doing it in the virtual reality.
Did you know that there's something similar? I'm not sure, this could be a load of absolute bullshit, but on the virtual reality topic, apparently in, obviously, Japan, they have the ability for you to buy a child sex doll.
Oh, I saw something on the news about an Australian guy importing them to Perth.
And they market it towards people who have pedophilic tendencies.
I'm not too interested in these areas, but
you know what I mean? Because they're trying to use that logic in a sense that they're trying to say, well, you know, if he has sex with this doll.
There's two. I don't understand enough about that arena, but I mean, yeah, there's two arguments. The one argument is it fulfills the sick fucking desire that he has, and he doesn't go do it to children. But then the other argument is it encourages the behaviour.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a double-edged sword there, definitely.
I just think they should all just be in jail.
Mate, they should all be buried under the fucking jail.
I don't really want to entertain the idea of like helping them. Like, you know what I mean? I think it's just fucking fuck them. Who cares? Like,
exactly.
Not needed in society. They can just live on their own in some segregated area.
A leper colony somewhere.
Yeah, pretty much. Another thing I'm very interested in at the moment that ties in with all the virtual reality stuff is autonomous cars. That's super interesting, and they're coming very soon.
Well, they're here. I drove past one the other day.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Like a sedan?
Legitimate Tesla drove past me the other day.
There's one in Perth?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
There are a few in Perth, I think.
Oh, I did not know this.
Yeah,
I thought
there
they
are
were
a few
just in
America.
America.
No. I drove past one the other day.
So they're just too expensive.
Fucking mind.
Yeah, that they can drive on roads.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they're safer than humans.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like, and they don't need to know the area. They've got cameras all around the car. Yeah.
Yeah, I was on the freeway, Mitchell Freeway, going towards.
Holy shit, I'm jealous.
Vincent Street. Yeah. And the guy was just, I had to do a double take.
Was he wearing like an Armani suit?
No, I didn't look at him that hard, but the guy is just sitting behind the driver's side of the car with a newspaper open, just reading.
Holy shit.
And I literally just was like, you fucking... Oh, and then I looked at the back and I literally wanted to honk my horn and be like, what the fuck are you doing? But I saw the Tesla symbol on the car, and I was like, righto, okay, fair enough, yeah.
I wonder what they cost now. Because the only problem now... Because like you say, they're fully working, like they're functioning.
Yeah.
Actually, I just picked up some chewing gum to chew on. That's a great idea, eh? They're just too expensive for everybody, aren't they?
Well, I don't think they're overly expensive, mate. Dude, the amount of Lamborghinis and Ferraris I've seen on the roads in Perth, mate, I'm fairly certain if you can buy a Lamborghini, how much is it? Let's just say Gallardo.
Well, $500,000.
Lamborghini Gallardo. Yeah, let's say $300,000, $400,000.
Yeah, well, you've seen it, so I guess the super rich are starting to buy Tesla.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, I don't even think you have to be super rich. I think you can get a reasonable...
100K?
Yeah, in the US, I think you can pick them up for like 110, 120. Yeah. Like, shit, man, you can get a top-of-the-line Land Cruiser is 150 grand.
Yeah, a lot of people...
So,
true.
You know what I mean? So it's not like it's the upper echelon of people that can afford it. Like, I drive past... Land Cruiser Saharas, and
it's every second car in Perth.
And they're worth, the top of the line ones are worth like 150 grand, which blows my fucking mind because you're paying luxury car tax on top of that as well. Have you heard of that fucking bullshit?
What is it?
Luxury car tax.
No.
Again, sorry to digress.
No.
So luxury car tax is this fucking rort, right, that the government has for some weird reason. They decide, I think they've just changed it. Now, if a car is over $73,000, you pay, I believe, don't quote me on this, but you pay a luxury car tax of 10% of the value of the car.
On top of
the car. And I think it's I'm not sure if it's on top of the on-road sort of stuff, but I think that's classified as the on-road. So if your car is $76,000, you'd pay an extra, 10%? So 7,600.
The dealers would include that in the cost, I'd imagine.
I believe so. But here's the fucking rub. Here's the bullshit. All right? You buy a car, 150 grand. You've got money. You don't give a fuck. Oh, 15 grand luxury car tax. Fucking whatever.
Yeah,
Take it.
Don't care if you're spending that much
whatever,
money.
mate.
Yeah.
Whatever. You buy the car. You have it for hypothetically 2 years. And you've gone, you know what? I'm not in a fucking Land Cruiser mood anymore. I'm in a Lamborghini mood now. So you sell the car. But the car you sell is you still sell it for 100 grand.
Yeah.
The next person who buys the car still has to pay the luxury car tax on the 100 grand.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
It's the same as stamp duty on a house. Like the stamp duty on a house has been paid for before, but as soon as the new person buys it, they pay it again.
Yeah.
And then you sell it, a new person buys it, pays it again. It's the same as the luxury car tax. So as long as a car is still valued at over that $73,000, you're paying luxury car tax.
So the government's making a lot of money. Yeah. If a car's sold 5 times, they make a lot of money.
And if it's still over $73,000, they're still making the luxury car tax on that car.
It's a bit fucking harsh, eh?
Oh, mate. That's what I'm thinking, like, fucking hell. Nowadays. But those self-driving cars, dude, like...
Yeah, that's what I want to talk about as well. What was I going to say? So a lot of podcasts have been talking about it. A lot of smart people have been talking about it. They've all been talking about VR, virtual reality, artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
I think those are the 3 main things everyone's talking about at the moment. And I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they said 40% of the workforce drives a vehicle in some way for their job.
Yep,
so like
I do.
Courier drivers. Maybe I don't know if your job would be classed like driving to and from.
No, but I get what you mean. Like, like courier drivers, delivery drivers.
They were saying 40% of the workforce drives a vehicle for their
as their main. Yeah.
So when autonomous cars come in,
we'll take off 40% of the workforce.
Maybe not 40. Maybe they've mixed in a few.
Or whatever the percentage, mate. Like, look at Australia.
There's just going to be a huge amount of people that are going to be out of jobs when autonomous cars come in because everybody's going to use them.
Do you think that we're in that position at the moment? Like, do you reckon that'll happen in our lifetime? Because I personally don't.
Definitely. I think in 5 years.
You reckon?
Yeah, I think in 5.
Because let me put it to you this way, right?
Yeah.
So the technology has gotten to the point at the moment where it is so good that an autonomous car can just do whatever it needs to do on the road without...
It's safer than a human
intervention
driver.
with a human.
I think it's 100 times safer than a human or something.
And that's fair enough. If that's the case, why do we still have train conductors?
We don't.
We do. I've got a family member who drives trains from Kalgoorlie to...
Okay, I don't know how many...
He's on... That's what I mean. Like,
look, it's still coming in. I don't understand the train industry or whatever you call it that well, but I was talking to somebody yesterday.
I'm not sure about Transperth. Like, the ones in the city, they probably don't have a driver.
I know there's definitely still train drivers around. There's still truck drivers around, but I was talking to a guy yesterday, and he spent 4 years ago. He spent like a year laying down sensors for trains to be driverless. This was 4 years ago, so there's definitely trains that
for sure
driverless. My father's mine site, or the company he works for, they have one mine site that's fully autonomous, and his mine site at the moment, it has about 100 employees, I think, is going autonomous in 2 years' time. It's going to be fully autonomous. So they've already got one mine site.
So all the big tipper trucks are going to be autonomous?
The giant, enormous trucks are self-driving now. So but they've got one mine site that's fully autonomous.
And the only people that work there are obviously the labour.
Grader up is the only other person that's driving
just the technical...
Yeah, I'm not sure like who's there to be the mine site.
The actual miners, like the welders and stuff like that. Yeah.
And stuff like that. But literally the entire mine site has these 100-ton trucks, enormous, driving around by themselves.
That's both awesome and scary at the same time, hey?
And they've got sensors in the LVs and the graders, and if you get within 100 meters of a truck,
it'll shut down.
The entire mine site shuts down.
Really?
So my dad was talking to it because he's a grader up, and he knows another grader up that's working at this autonomous mine site, and he hated it because he was constantly running away from these trucks.
Because he did want to shut the mine down.
Yeah, so you're not like, oh, I'm just going to grade over here. And then you're constantly like worried you're going to get within 100 meters of these trucks. And he said it was horrible and stressful. But so my dad's mining company that he works for.
BHP?
FMG.
Okay.
Already has one mine site that's fully autonomous apart from the grader ops. And the mine site he's at now, they've told him in 2 years' time is going to be fully
But he'd still have a job though, wouldn't he?
As a grader op, maybe, yeah.
What is that? Sorry, I don't know what
graders? You know what a grader is?
Not really.
A grader's that big machine. I thought everyone knew what graders were. Anyway, a grader's the machine that pushes all the stuff on the road to the side and makes it flat.
Oh, like a sorry, grader as in like I think you meant grater as in like a grater. Grader. Right. Oh yeah. So it's hard levels the ground. Yep. It's hard to
autonomize that because it's just you have to be watching. You have to move up and down.
Yeah, levels and stuff like that. Yeah. But sorry, I thought you said grater. I'm like, oh.
But that's what I'm like. It's already here. It's just coming in, so it's still being implemented. But I think in 5 years' time, they're going to be like Uber. So there'll probably be about the same amount of Ubers driving around. Autonomous cars in 5 years, maybe even earlier. I think Uber's trying to go autonomous actually.
Yeah, well.
But yeah, I think in 5 years, and I think in 10 years, 10 to 15, I don't think there'll be cars anymore, man. I think in 20 years' time, 20 to 30 years' time, I think my kids won't drive cars. That's what I think. I think everything will be autonomous.
I think you still will. You know,
you can have the option to, but I think kids will grow up like
with the ability of not having to.
They just won't learn because they don't need to, you know, like, and it'll be cheaper, it'll be more cost effective. We'll be able to share our cars. You look at the way we have cars now, we drive them, well, it depends how much you commute, but probably 10% of the time we drive the cars. The rest of the time they're parked, sitting in the driveway. We pay for all the maintenance. We pay for the entire car, the cost of the car.
And the insurance of the car, tyres, upkeep.
Autonomous cars, the insurance will be nothing because they're 100 times safer. The insurance cost will go right down, but it'll be shared. The cars will be running 100% of the time. So the cost of the car will be shared between 10 people instead of on one person, right? And it'll pick you up, drop you off, and then there'll be software on your phone like Uber, and he'll detect somebody near where you're being dropped off, and he'll go to that person and then move on. They'll be all electric. There'll be, I think there'll be little, little check-in points where the cars stop. There'll be like every suburb,
magnetic charge stations.
Stations. So there'll be a station in every suburb that'll have a dozen autonomous cars plugged in, and they'll, when they're not driving, they don't have any rides, they'll go and plug themselves into these stations. It'll be 100 times more efficient.
Like a Roomba vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, they'll just
go around, do whatever they need to do.
But it'll be so much more efficient, and it'll drop the cost of. It'll be cheap. It'll be extremely cheap because the cost will be shared between everybody, and they'll be working 100% of the time. Yeah. So it'll cost $2 to go from here to Joondalup. You know, like the cost of fuel plus a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think it's going to change the entire world, and I think it's going to happen a lot sooner than everyone thinks.
I personally don't think we're going to be at that stage soon. I reckon you will, mainly because I'm not saying that the technology isn't there. What I'm saying is...
Yeah, why do you think, what's going to stop it from getting to that point?
What it is people are just always going to be scared, all right, about something totally autonomous driving around the suburbs with no one in the driver's seat in case something happens. Now, the statistics say that the car is way more safe and way more efficient at driving than a human being, but you will always have those people that go, nope. Like commuting with airplanes. Now, we've got a mutual friend who's a pilot. Now, I had a discussion with him like a while ago, and he was saying that, mate, the planes pretty much fly themselves. They take off and they can land on their own. A pilot technically only needs to make something. He said something like...
So landing and takeoff, that's the most involved part of the trip.
Yeah, but they can do it on their own.
Yeah.
And he said that to keep your type rating on that particular plane, you need to physically make, I think, 6 takeoffs and landings every month or 2 months. So it shows you that the technology in that space has been there for a while. It's just the fact that people don't trust something.
Oh, the pilot's just there to make, if anything goes wrong, he can step in.
And that's what I mean. Over, Like, I don't see a car being totally autonomous without someone behind the driver's seat.
that's
time soon.
You'll be sitting behind the wheel. Like,
there's the Teslas now.
Yeah, there's cars on the road, a lot of new cars now, that when you're on the motorway and you're driving, you click a button and it steers itself, it brakes, does all that, but it only does it on the freeway. It doesn't like drive around suburbs and take you everywhere.
But that's what I mean. Like, I reckon in at least the next 50, you might see that. So if I'm alive in 50 years...
No, it's going to happen.
You reckon it'll be sooner?
Man, well, every year... So, like, I need to learn the correct term for this, but the rate at which we advance speeds up constantly.
Exponentially, yeah.
That's there's an exponential...
growth rate,
Growth. Yeah. So, like, it's not just we move forward...
One step every year. It's like one step,
every fucking
5
year.
steps, 10 steps.
Yeah. That keeps happening.
The more technology we have to use, the more advanced the technology we can make in the future.
Yeah, and I think we're going to a point now at the 10-year mark where everything will start, like our artificial intelligence.
So you reckon in about 10 years that
everything's just going to go, like it's just going to go,
like
and we're not going to be able to keep up with it, and our political systems aren't going to be able to keep up with it. You know, like for example, the job losses. If everything's autonomized, the cars are autonomized, lots of jobs.
There'll be massive job losses.
Yeah, and the government won't know how to deal with it. Universal income's an idea that everybody's throwing around at the moment that's talking about
anarchy.
So the rate of advancement with technology is going to be quicker than we're going to be able to keep up with ideologically, politically, systematically across the board. So it's going to get a bit chaotic. But I think it's going to go fucking really quickly. I don't think it's going to catch everybody off guard.
You reckon?
Yeah. I think in 10 years, everybody will be sitting in the back of an autonomous car.
I'd love to have that.
Yeah, I can't wait. But like what you were saying before, I definitely understand that it was the same thing from the horse to the car. Like everybody thought the car was a waste of time.
Yeah.
How are you going to drive that? Nobody thought that would pave half the fucking planet and put tar seal down for all the cars, you know, like I think it's the same thing. It'll be like going from the horse to the car, like going from
the horse and buggy to the car,
pre-internet to internet, you know, like
can you I was having this discussion with a friend the other day. Can you imagine how I forget, how old are you? 27? 25. Yeah. Have you had internet your entire life? No. Do you remember what it was like before internet?
Yeah. We got internet we got dial-up when I was like maybe 12, I think.
Yeah, I was about 15. And I remember specifically hating those people that had money and had computers and internet because we couldn't afford any of that.
Yeah. And
when it came time to do like school reports and all that sort of stuff, like I was there in my study with a fucking World Book Encyclopedia.
Oh yeah, we had all those.
Going through, Australia was called Van Diemen's Land and it was, Dirk Hartog or whatever, all these people, and you're like, some guy just goes onto the fucking Yahoo.
Oh, we never had that. So like I grew up in a rural area in New Zealand, so I guess we got the internet. Like because it's funny, I talk to people your age and the internet came along sort of the same age
as you, yeah.
But it's because I grew up in buttfuck nowhere,
and
we didn't get internet for a long time. But even when we got internet, it wasn't really used for anything.
Yeah, same.
Until I was probably like 15.
Yeah.
I started using it for things. Like before that, it was just like Messenger was the only thing people were
MSN and all that sort of stuff, yeah.
Typing in boobies when you're like 12. That's the only... Searching,
what was her name? Pamela Anderson's sex tape.
Yeah, no one even knew that was where I was from. But like I had a big conversation with a friend of mine on the weekend about all of this stuff. Like I remember cell phones came out about the same time. Well, there was cell phones, but they didn't become mainstream until about the same age, 13. So I remember knowing all my friends' phone numbers off by heart.
Yeah, you had to.
On the home phone.
You had to.
Yeah, calling up their parents and saying, "Can I please speak to," and
then, well, you had to have that sort of social thing and you hated it.
I think you might. Yeah, so
you hated
it's one-sided. So that's the side, yeah.
So you hated when you called your friend's house and you're like, oh, please don't be his mum or his dad. Please don't be his mum or his dad. Please. And then it's like, oh, hi, Mrs. Carney. Is Sean there?
Yeah, I remember time before all that, like I think about it now, and I don't understand how we functioned without cell phones. Because if you left a house,
you would go back
there
now.
was no way to communicate with anybody once you left.
Like, I legitimately not have... Okay, that's a little bit of a overreaction. I don't legitimately have panic attacks. But with my work, I have to have my phone. Like, I get my jobs by email, and I check them on my phone.
Yeah, I'm the same. I have to have my phone.
You know what I mean? Like, I've got customers calling me. I've got,
me too.
you know, my boss calling me. Like, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, my dad used to work for Coca-Cola.
Yeah, your job's like a really good example. What did they do before cell phones in your job?
That's what I'm just going to say. Like, my dad worked for Coca-Cola doing...
So explain your job first. Probably.
Okay, so I'm sorry. I'm a refrigeration and air conditioning technician. So pretty much air conditioning, refrigeration, installations, and all that sort of stuff.
Lots of maintenance.
Yeah, it's a lot of break fix work and maintenances. And
so Gary drives from job to job.
Yeah, around Perth and the suburbs are surrounding the city as well. But we also specialize in beverage vending, so like post-mix machines, like in McDonald's and Hungry Jack's.
Yeah, that's what I remember you doing the most.
Yeah. So my dad used to work at Coca-Cola. Now, I remember him telling me that they had to have a two-way radio in the van. That's how they were given jobs.
Truckers.
That's how they were given jobs. So there would be a girl in the office in Cudale, and she would get up on the two-way radio and just be like, okay, mobile 32, come in 32.
Powerful radio, eh? Like,
well, yeah.
It's been a big fucking radio.
Yeah, they used to use them, and that's how they used to get their jobs. Okay. And then eventually the jobs came in via pager.
Pages, yep, that makes sense.
You know what I mean? So, like, you would get a job via pager, and then you just obviously go do that
address.
job. And, yeah, the address and what's wrong with it, roughly, you know, in the however many characters you were allowed on the pager.
We never had pages.
No, I don't... I had one as a kid because I got my dad's old pager, but...
Yeah, well, we were in the country, so it would have been cities that would have been using pages.
Yeah.
I guess,
yeah. And then, and I remember specifically the day my dad came home with this newfangled technology, the mobile phone, and it was the size of a briefcase.
Yeah.
And that was just the battery for the phone.
Yeah.
And it had like a corded handset that was attached to it, and that's what he used from that point on.
Had about a 10-minute battery or whatever.
Yeah. So that's how he got his jobs from that point on. And I think to myself now, it's like, well, it's good and bad. Like, I'm on a job site. I'm working on a piece of equipment now. I'm not entirely sure how it runs. I can call the manufacturer in New Zealand.
Oh, yeah. It's fucking nuts, man.
And say, listen, mate, I'm on site looking at this piece of equipment, model number, blah, 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 serial number, blah, blah, blah. And within 5 minutes, he's emailed me the schematics.
Yeah.
And the running wiring diagrams and all that sort of stuff. And
it's a completely different world. So, like, when I'll group you in with me, when we were kids, had none of that. So, like, for fun, I used to go outside with a potato knife and run around the trees and pretend that I was an army ranger or whatever. You know, or I'd go build a hut, or I'd just
build a little cubby in the sand dune somewhere,
or make a clubhouse or all that kind of shit. Kids now all have iPads. And the interesting thing now, so that these phones, iPads, computers, any question you have,
Google it.
Any fucking question in the world can be answered within seconds, and you can find out basically all the information in the world
is at your fingertips,
in your fucking pocket.
But do you also find that you don't appreciate it as much as you did when you had to actually work for it? Like, how many times have you Googled something in like the last year because you were like, I wonder what that's like, and you Google it, and then a year later you're like, I wonder what that's like, and you're like, didn't I already Google this?
Yeah, so
I think it's the same as when you study something. Like, you're working towards gaining that knowledge when the knowledge is just here.
Yeah, well, we haven't caught up with it yet, I don't think. Like, I mean, university, what's the point in... you've got to be careful here. There is definitely a point to schooling.
Of course, but what I mean is...
But what, I can look up anything. So somebody went to uni and studied psychology.
Yeah.
I can just Google any single fucking question. That you can ask me a question about psychology, and I can Google it, and it might take me 10 minutes to read 3 different articles, 10 different opinions. There won't be one set opinion, but I can come up with a pretty reasonable conclusion for you, probably within 10 to 20 minutes, and it would be very similar to what a psychologist would tell you. Archie, I think. I've got my hand on my... You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, like we're getting to the point now where anybody can look up anything, and is there any need? Like, everybody Googles everything now. There's no.
Well, it's become part of our vernacular.
There's no need for professionals anymore.
Oh, see, I think that's when.
Well, I shouldn't say that. There is a need for professionals, but there's not as much of it. Like back in the day, if you needed to know something, you went to somebody who was an expert. Right?
Yeah.
If you wanted to learn about psychology, you went to your neighbor,
to a professor or something like that.
Yeah, somebody you knew, your friend knew him. You're like, I want to learn about psychology. Or you went to the library and you got a book on psychology. Blah, blah, blah. Now you can go on YouTube. You can go on Udemy. Udemy is amazing. Have you heard of Udemy?
No, what's that?
It's an online university. People make their own.
Nah, fuck off.
Yeah, Udemy.
Is it valid though?
Udemy is amazing. So you get all of these professors, professionals. They create online,
like online seminars, sort of thing.
They create their own online courses, and you can do the courses online.
But what I mean is, if I did a course on Udemy, and I applied for a job doing something, and I had that certificate from Udemy, would that be looked upon as like, oh yeah, that's valid?
I think it's getting to the point now where like most employers would understand what Udemy is.
It makes sense though, because if you think about it, like, what if you lived in the country and
Udemy's more self-learning, so it's not to apply for a job.
Yeah.
So somebody will learn how to build websites.
Right.
So they can build websites for people, or say you're interested in philosophy, you can do a philosophy course. I'd imagine the market
self-improvement more than
which is like perfect for somebody like me. So I don't see the point in. Well, there's two types of education. There's education for vocation. And there's education for
personal growth. It does make sense because online courses have been around for a while. Because like, what if you live, like you said, in bumfuck nowhere, but you still want to do a university degree? There are people there that do it all online.
Yeah, you can do most.
And they're valid courses, because at the end of the day, what you're learning is going to be tested. So it's not like you're cheating by watching watching the seminar or that lecture on a screen rather than sitting in a cold or hot auditorium taking notes. You know what I mean? You can do it in your own pace. And if you live in, fucking Kazakhstan or, in outback somewhere in rural Western Australia.
Yeah, that's the amazing thing.
You can still learn via internet. And I think that's awesome.
The bad things about it, people give up more easily.
In what way?
Well, the attention span's not there. So like if you have somebody pushing you, teaching you
to strive,
physically there, like making sure, like on your ass basically, you're more likely to do things. But if it's an online course and you're sitting at home, you can just jump on Facebook, you can go watch Netflix, you can do all these different things.
I think it also depends on the person.
Oh, of course it does.
You know what I mean?
I think the technology we have now that lets us Google anything has like shortened our attention spans, like
instant gratification
enormously. You know what I mean? So
because the gratification is instant.
Yeah, but there's just so many different things going on.
Yeah,
we jump from one thing to another thing.
That's what I mean, because it's instant. Because like you said before, if you wanted to know something, you had to go see your next door neighbor Bob and say, "Hey Bob, explain to me psychology."
Yeah, but it's so cool that you don't have to do that now.
No, I know, but I think that's why people's attention spans are the way they are, because you don't have to go see Bob anymore. You don't have to take the half-hour drive to uni or do this or even walk to a library to check out a book.
There was a level of commitment that came with that.
Exactly. So you had to want that information, whereas now, like I said, just Google it.
It's free too, the information.
Yeah.
So.
And that's what I mean, like the amount of people who just Google things and it's lost. Like I said, a year later, you'd probably be Googling the same thing because you haven't had to strive for that information.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And because it had to be something you wanted to know about. Like you said, you had to have that commitment to go to the library or to go to see a professional to learn about something. Yeah,
you go to the library and you get there, you're not just going to be like, you're not going to read a paragraph and
then go home.
Get distracted maybe by the fiction section, but that's still good anyway. Fiction. But yeah, you get there, you're going to fucking read, you're going to learn about it. But when it's on your phone, there's like 1,000. And they design the software too to keep us constantly
enthralled,
Yeah. Like the colours, the way...
So bright and shiny and new.
Yeah, there's just teams of like geniuses trying to keep us...
But I find it amazing that like at this point in time, like I was telling you before the podcast started, my iWatch, my Apple Watch, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, what are they actually called?
I think they call it Apple Watch, or I don't know. Like the box said iWatch, but I know a lot of people refer to it as the Apple Watch. So
Apple Watch sounds better.
Yeah. So let's just say Apple Watch, right? Now, I was on the internet and I was reading that the level of technology encased in this tiny little, it's not even, let's say, an inch by an inch piece of equipment, rivals that of the Apollo 11 rocket that landed on the moon.
I've heard similar things, that like the computers used in the rocket.
And that just blows my fucking mind. Like, I have something strapped to my wrist that has more computing power than all the computers in the rocket that took Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and
it's nuts.
Do you even know the name of the third guy? Who's the third guy?
Oh, it was before my. What year was that?
Oh, no, it's 66.
Yeah, no.
I
have no idea.
But you know Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin. There's another guy who sat in the LEM. He didn't come down to the moon surface. But anyway, my Apple
Should we go
Watch.
on Eddie Bravo and start talking about
conspiracy theories. Did they actually go to the moon?
I'm
I'm
not interested in it at all, to be honest.
Whatever. If they did or they didn't, no.
Yeah, I don't care.
Doesn't affect me. But what I'm saying is, I've got more computing power on my wrist to send a text message to my wife about, hey, what's for dinner? Do you want me to pick up some milk? Than there was on a spaceship taking 3 grown men to the moon.
It's nuts.
And back home again.
And these things now
are so cheap.
Our phones are becoming computers. So
well, they are, really.
Phones are almost replacing computers now, like, because the technology is so good in the phone.
Yeah.
Like this phone I've got here, the S8, you can plug a screen, like a computer screen, a monitor, sorry. You can plug a monitor into it and run Windows.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking intense.
This is a computer. I can put this on my desk and plug it into my monitor.
And that's your office. You can take it wherever you want.
Run Windows, but it's not that great at the moment. Like, it wouldn't be able to keep up with what I'm doing right now. Like, I'm running
all the processing stuff that you need. Yeah,
but it's quite rare actually now for people to even have desktop computers.
I don't use my computer, man.
Yeah, like people have laptops. But yeah.
Well, I've got one at home. I've got a computer at home. No, like a desktop Mac.
Yeah.
I literally turn it on to back my phone up.
Yeah, so it's already almost there.
Yeah, but the only reason I can do everything on my phone. Banking, emails.
I do like emailing more so on my computer because I have a keyboard and I can see.
I suck at typing anyway. So.
I don't like replying to emails from my phone because I like to get the entire response together. I guess it depends on the emails.
Yeah.
Most of my emails.
But all that sort of stuff, man. Like, I could do it all on my phone. Shit, you don't even need to get on your computer to watch porn anymore, Sean.
Does anyone watch porn on their computers anymore?
That's what I mean. You don't even need to get on your computer. No. Back in the day, you needed to fucking, no one's around.
With the old dial-up.
Dial-up, you got to make sure that people weren't there going, I tried calling you for the last half an hour. What were you doing? Oh, I was on the internet.
Just minimize the tab while the picture's
yeah.
You minimize it and just make sure no one goes on the computer for 3 hours.
So I can do that on my phone.
Yeah.
I can just sit there and go, I'm bored and home alone. My wife's gone shopping. Pornhub.
Well, you can Netflix on your fucking phone.
Yeah.
I do.
Well, shit, man. I sometimes in the morning, I'm on the shitter and I'm just watching a bit of fucking Luke Cage, Iron Fist or Luke Cage or...
That case on my phone. Maybe I should put this on the video. So you can set the phone down and it's like a fucking TV screen. And when you're in bed and you've got it close to you, it's like this, looks like a screen.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's segue into something else. I'm getting kind of bored with this technology.
I think, yeah. What else do you want to talk about, Sean?
I don't know, how long have we got? We're going for an hour. That doesn't feel like an hour, does it? Is that correct?
Maybe. We can wrap it up in about 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, there are like a million different topics. We can just wrap it up now if we want, I guess.
Yeah, well, let's talk about something to wrap it up.
No, let's just wrap it up. If we start talking about something else, we'll keep going.
Yeah, that's true. For another hour, my wife's going to get very upset.
Yeah, like an hour and 7 minutes. Basically, you could call this the first podcast because the other one was fucking 3 years ago. But the first one, back into it again. Yeah. Get all the settings correct. And
get all the bugs out.
Had a decent conversation.
Thank you for having me on, Sean.
That's all right, man. So we're going to go weekly from now on. It's going to get better and better every week.
I look forward to hearing them.
Yeah, so obviously every week we'll learn and we'll get better and the starts.
Who do you reckon you're going to have next week?
Ryan, who works for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a super interesting bloke. He did an IQ test the other day. So Ryan's one of my head doormen. He's one of my best friends as well. Ryan and Dan are both my two head doormen for the main venues for my security business, if anyone's confused about what I'm saying.
Ryan
Hetherington.
Have I met him? No, I don't think I have.
Anyway, Ryan and Dan are really good friends. They come into the office all the time. Ryan's very introspective, like myself, deep thinker. He did an IQ test the other day, and he got 148 or something.
Nice.
He's in the top 1% of the entire planet.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think the last time I did one was like, I was 20. I got 122.
Yeah, I think I was like 120 or something. I did it the other day.
Yeah.
But Ryan's a super interesting bloke, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go weekly. I'm going to get guests, whoever wants to come on, whoever, like yourself. Yeah. But for the weeks that I can't find anybody or nothing's happening, I think me and Ryan are just going to riff, just talk. Because Ryan's like...
Can talk about anything.
The rabbit hole, man.
Yeah.
Like, that's what this podcast should be fucking called.
The rabbit hole.
The rabbit hole. Oh,
yeah.
That is perfect.
There you go.
That is definitely what I want this to be called.
Thank you, Ryan.
The rabbit hole. That's fucking perfect. Okay, this is called the rabbit hole now.
Yeah, we're changing it. It's official.
Uneducated Opinion, episode 2.
AKA
This
the first episode of the rabbit hole. Officially
the last episode of the Uneducated Opinion podcast. I hope you've all enjoyed it. Yeah. Had a good run.
Yeah, we did well, mate. We made, Joe Rogan got his 1,000th. We got our second.
I fucking at Joe Rogan on Twitter when we did it, eh?
Oh, did you really? did he watch it and just be like,
no one even fucking...
Guys, this was shit.
I only put it on YouTube, which is my biggest mistake, because podcasts don't really get much traction on YouTube unless you're fucking Joe Rogan. I didn't put it on iTunes. I didn't promote it, really. I didn't do anything. Whatever. But I'm going to upload it. Yeah. iTunes are where you get all the views from.
Yeah, for sure.
And stuff. But I think we've got quite a...
The rabbit hole. And then the sign-off can be...
That's me, man. That's what I want. I want to like rabbit... And with Ryan, he's the same. So with Ryan, I'm just like rabbit hole, like deeper.
So the sign-off at the end of the podcast can be... Thank you for coming down this rabbit hole. Or thank you for joining me down the rabbit hole.
yeah, or some shit like that. It would be just different every time. Fuck, that's a cool name. I really like that. That's exactly like my vision. If you know what I mean? Like, mission statement. It's fucked up. Cool. Well, that was a little good end to the podcast. All right. Thanks guys. Next time you'll be listening to The Rabbit Hole.
Yeah. With Sean Carney.
Oh, we can do some like sick graphics too with some like fucked up rabbit like getting sucked into like a black hole or some shit. Like that would be cool, eh?
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
That can be the thumbnail.
What's that fucking movie
picture?
With the
Alice in Wonderland?
The creepy rabbit that fucking murders everyone?
Oh, Donnie Darko?
Yeah, we can like put Donnie Darko fucking suits on with the rabbit.
Righto, Sean.
Or like Ryan could just sit in the next room and we'll have a camera on him and just switch to him like...
Yeah, he's just wearing like a rabbit suit, like sharpening like a knife or something like that.
Break and just like go into the next room. All right, guys, thanks for listening. See you next time.
Thanks, guys.
I think I'm going to release on every Monday.
Oh, there you go. Cheers. Bye.
See ya.